with Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
If we all know that practice time is a valuable commodity, especially in this season, what were you guys able to do today in between two games?
We actually did obviously film on last night, and then some team offense, some team defense, which will hopefully be useful for tomorrow night.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Steve, I'm asking you this because you're facing the team and one of the players who really popularized the three-point shot more than any other team, at least in the public's minds. I'm just curious, just how much further do you think the three-point revolution in the league is going to go? It just seems like every year teams take more and more threes, and to an astounding degree.
Yeah, I think that, and I think this all goes together, Josh, to be honest. If you look at it now, and I didn't look this morning, but I look most mornings. So last year, Dallas, and I'm talking about all of offense with threes being a huge part of this. So last year, Dallas, I believe, ended this regular season at like 1.13 points per possession, right? Which made them the most efficient offensive team in the history of the NBA, in the history, okay? And now you go back to when there were less teams and look at, say, some of the great Laker or Celtic teams or whatever, just because there were less teams. Think about it. You had teams with, like 3 or 4 Hall of Famers, right? And so, because there were less teams. And now, if you look at it so far this year, and again, we're only like 30 games in, I think there are a number of teams who right now have an offensive efficiency higher than what Dallas had last year. And my point is, in three-point shooting being probably the biggest part of it is that the game is going more and more towards offense. And it's doing it at actually a pretty rapid pace. So, we're playing more offensive lineups, but I really believe the other part of it that goes with it, it's basketball IQ. It's not just guys that can just shoot. It's guys that are decision makers, guys that can pass the ball into the paint, guys that can play without the ball. And if you want to look at their team, think about Steph Curry. He's a great screener. He's a phenomenal playing without the ball. He's playing with one of the great playmakers in our game as a power forward in Draymond Green. And they utilize him in places all over the floor to take advantage of that. So, to me, it's just where the game is going. And I also think if you look at percentage of threes shot per team this year, that's way up also, I think.
Christos Saltis, Sport DNA Greece.
Hello, Coach.
Hello.
How important for you is to carry on the defensive effort of last night's game against the Knicks? And also, how different is the dynamic with MCW on the court?
Oh, he's a difference maker. Actually, in our film session, 2 of the clips that I showed were just him setting a tone with ball pressure at half court, where he's disruptive. He doesn't allow teams to get into their offense as easily or as quickly. And plus he can guard, many positions, not just point guard. So he changes our defense, drastically. And in terms of building on it, to be honest, I think this started in Portland, where we've played now the 4 games on the West Coast trip, and then last night, where I believe in that stretch now, we'd be like, for those 5 games, like 7th in defense, against good offensive teams, and 4 of the games on the road. And that's our ticket. That's our way to make progress and get better. And that's what we talked about this morning.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Coach, how would you assess Chuma Okeke's defense this season, and how good do you think he could become on that end of the floor?
Oh, I think he can become a terrific defender, both individual and team. And, what's happened is you guys have seen this last stretch of games, it's been more difficult because, right now he's a 4-man. That's more how he's always played. And because of the injuries, he's been playing all at the 3. And to be honest, he's done a remarkable job because he hasn't even practiced, at that position. So he's guarding quicker guys that play off the dribble. And he had some good sequences last night of one-on-one defense and reads and help things. But I think he's going to be, I think he can be both a very good individual defender and a terrific team defender.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
Steve, obviously you had Dwayne in Charlotte and knew what kind of player that you were getting. He's been able to come off the bench and contribute as a starter. Just how valuable has he been for your team so far this season?
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's just starting to, really evolve into the player that I think he can be. His defense has been very good. We've asked him to defend primary scorers here in this stretch without point guards. I mean, he guarded Lillard, he guarded Steph. He's had a number of those. So it's been a good opportunity for him, and he's done a really good job. And I watch him play, and to me, this is the very beginning of again, like the player he can become, a two-way player. His work with Bruce and Pat Delaney is paying off. He's shooting the ball with much more confidence. But what he can do is he can get the ball going towards the basket, which is such a huge part of today's NBA game. And I think as he continues to grow here, it's the ball movement part, the playmaking part, and then, like also getting to the free throw line. Like the other night, he had a game where wherever he shot 6, 7, 8 free throws, that would put him in a different place also.
Dan Savage.
Cliff, I know with a lot of these injury or guys coming back from injury, it's the day after is equally important how they made it through the game. So how did, Evan and Chief make it through last night, and how's James Ennis progressing?
I think James is good. So we're hopeful, as long as things go well tomorrow morning, that he'll be able to play tomorrow night, which would be great. And both Chief and Evan, Lindsay told me this morning that they felt good and they did everything in practice, and they both told me also that they felt fine. So, fingers crossed here, but I think that, it seemed like that we got through things, and I think everybody will be fine for tomorrow.
Josh Robbins.
Steve, how do you project you will utilize or employ Farouk once his minutes are able to get up? In other words, what role do you envision for him to take?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. And Josh, to be honest with you, I'm trying to figure all of that out. Like James being back means that we can move Chuma back to the 4, which right now is the best position for him. And that's where he's been playing. That's where he's the most comfortable. The only thing I know about Chief is he's going to be part of it. He's a veteran player. He's played on good teams. He's very bright. He's very tough, and he can play well at both ends of the floor. So some of this, I can't lie. It's going to be a work in progress. Like right now, as you guys can tell last night, we're going to have to get through this stretch here as you bring guys back, and, they can only play a few minutes. So you're going to have nights where you play 11 guys, because to be honest, with minutes restrictions and being smart about the pace with which we bring guys back so they don't get re-injured, they can't play too much. And so, I think as a coach, all you do is sit, watch, try to figure out who can play with who. And, that's why you have your staff too. I mean, it's all we talk about. So I'm just glad to have him back. And, I think he can make a real difference for our team.
You have a follow-up, Josh?
I do. Steve, can you explain why the 4 is better for Chuma at this stage than the 3?
Well, it's his natural position. It's where he played in college. And I think what it does right now is it, how can I say, the way we play, it utilizes one of his biggest strengths is his passing, as you guys have seen. And the way we play, it utilizes his ability to pass the ball into the paint and create action for his teammates. And then at the other end of the floor, you know, he's going to be playing against guys that are more screen setters, and they can still play off the dribble versus the guys that are more, you know, the attackers, the guys, which I think eventually he'll be able to do both. But again, you know, he hasn't played for a while, and he, you know, that's not where he played in college.
Okay, everyone, we'll do two more. Paul Casanova, EDF Sports.
Hey, Coach. With the grueling NBA season as it's gone, and more coaches are coming out saying their displeasure at how it's been going, do you feel that the NBA will make any changes for the second half of the season?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know how they really could, though, to be honest with you, because I mean, my take on it was I think that we have to be done. I think for the Summer Olympics, I think was the goal. So I just don't know. I have no idea. You know, we don't have our second half schedule yet, but my thinking is I'm not sure how they could do that unless they wanted to do stuff like go back to have the first round 3 out of 5 or things like that. I really have no idea.
Okay, last question goes to Roy Perry.
Steve, I know that you're getting guys back and you've got a little bit of roster stability. I know that's a priority going forward, but past couple seasons, you've talked a lot about building momentum into the All-Star break. You've got 6 of your next 7 games at home. Are you putting an emphasis on that as you guys are moving forward here?
100%. I mean, we, you know, the other day, the practice before New York, that's what we talked about. 8 games left, and we're playing better. I mean, that's the biggest thing I took from the West Coast trip. We played better, and you know, we're getting guys back here. And like you said, you know, 7 of those 8 were at home, and you know, we played a really, really good second half last night. So that's what I'm hoping that we can build on. We got to get our turnovers down. We got to get our transition defense down. But you know, most of the other things defensively last night were, you know, really good. So we know what we have to fix, and now it's just a question of, you know, fixing it, you know, doing better in the areas that have hurt us.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you.